And Levy finds a crease, and he's off. He was the AAC Specialist of the Week last week, and what a big return. He goes 66 yards on the opening kick.
And you can see why Levy gets it done on special teams. What an incredible way to start this football game. A kick right down the middle, and the wedge is set up to the left side, and you can see that convoy. Once Levy gets past that first wave, it's off to the races. But you talk about a great way to break in a backup quarterback in Dennis Grosel. Give him starting field position like this.
So here comes Dennis Grosel, former walk-on, earned a scholarship before his redshirt sophomore season. This is his 9th career start. And don't forget, listen, he started last season against Virginia, threw for a school record 520 yards, tying Doug Flutie's record.
Pretty high level.
Pat Gurwald in the backfield. They fake it to him, throw it to the outside to Zay Flowers. And Flowers tackled inside the red zone, 10-yard pickup.
And starting with the run-pass option, the run to the left by Carwu, and then outside to Zay Flowers is going to be the guy they get it to on the perimeter. You're going to test Temple's defense outside, especially outside the numbers early and often in this one.
So first down from the 19. Garwo, the lone setback. This is refreshing, especially with BC. You have a quarterback under center. They give it to Garwo over that right side and maybe a yard. Will Rogers makes the stop. He's the leader of the Temple defensive line. They call themselves the Wild Boys.
And they need to get wild today. They're a little suspect up front on the defensive line of scrimmage, but 4 linebackers are going to have to create a ton of havoc today, and we're going to see a gaggle of running backs. Garwo is just the first guy. We're going to see Levy and Sinkfield, and also Coleman, who is actually the guy that has the freshman that has an extra gear, changes the angles a little bit out of that backfield.
From the gun, Grosel looking over the middle. He's got a man in the seam. Touchdown, Jaden Williams. "19-yard touchdown pass to Jaden Williams, his first of the season."
And great field position, tremendous early execution, and that was way, way too easy. Jaden Williams just leaks up the seam, and Grosel knows exactly where to go. Defender was leveraged outside.
Pass to Randy Jones. Jones, who's basically accounted for over 50% of the receiving yards.
And BC thought they had Jones down, and he wasn't quite down by contact, and gets up and gets a few extra yards. But as Lauren talked about, just be you. Who is Justin Lynch? But you see Jones doesn't go down right there. He actually falls. I do believe his left knee was down. The replay booth should stop this and take a further look at it, even though he rolled over a defender.
And they're going to do that right on cue.
Ruling on the field, the ball carrier's knee did not touch the ground. Previous plays under further review.
Yeah, this is going to come back to where it was originally thought that Jones went down. The left knee did actually come back down, but who is Justin Lynch? Comes from a great bloodline, coached by his brother. Watch the left knee right here by Jones. Right there.
That initially was 4 yards. When he got up, he picked up 10 more.
Yeah, so that 10 more is going to come back, and Justin Lynch is not going to flinch today. He's been born and bred to play this game. Chicago toughness. His brother's already been there, done that. Has coached him in this very same system at Mount Carmel in Chicago. So Justin Lynch is going to need a physical run game, and then kind of roll him out in the pass game. Split the field in half with the youngster so he doesn't have to see it all. Let him get a good feel and taste in his mouth early, and I think Justin Lynch will be just fine today.
Well, you talked about his brother, Jordan, and listen, you go back to 2013, he finished 3rd in the Heisman balloting there. You see him there, Johnny Manziel as well.
Some good ones there.
Jameis is in there as well. Well, good is he playing, Jameis? Now?
Yeah, he lit it up.
Further review determined that the ball carrier's left elbow was down at the 28-yard line. Second down.
So Gary Patterson telling us call has been reversed. He'll give him a 4-yard pickup for Randall Jones.
So look for Temple to stay in, you know, 1 or 2 tights most of the time, 11, 12 personnel, physical run, play action pass, and a heavy boot game to, like I said, divide the field in half for the youngster to be able to discern things on the go and not have to go through a full field progression early in this one.
And explain that for some of the people when you talk about 11 and 12 personnel about the tight ends.
Yeah, 1 tight end or 2 tight ends.
This one to the outside, and that's incomplete. He was looking at Jordan Smith.
So because the 11 personnel, the first number digit denotes the number of running backs, the second one denotes the number of tight ends, which automatically plays out to the number of wide receivers you can also have. And obviously 12 personnel is single back with 2 tight ends. You're going to get a lot of extra bodies on the line of scrimmage in this game by both teams, as a matter of fact.
3rd and 7 for the Owls. They go trips at the top of your screen. Lynch looking. Plenty of time. Good protection. And now he's going to take off. And knocked out of bounds at the 30. Cam Arnold knocks him out of bounds.
Well, because one of the questions was, with a young quarterback, do you come after him? And the answer was sometimes. You only rush 3, you drop 8. It depends on the makeup of the quarterback, to be honest. I loved as a quarterback for teams to come after me because in the secondary things sort out more quickly. Sometimes for young quarterbacks it's harder to discern when there's a bunch of structure on the back end by rushing 3 and dropping 8 like BC did on that play.
Adam Berry has come in to punt things away for Temple, standing back at his own 25. Travis leaving. Keep in mind, he took the opening kick 66 yards. He's got the rock right now. Breaks a tackle and tripped up at the 22nd yard, 53-yard punt of a 6-yard return. Dennis Grosel, redshirted, entered in 2017. Didn't see any action in 2018 at all. But started 7 games. And look, he was the first BC QB to come off the bench and throw for 3 touchdown passes and tied that school record with 520 he put up against Virginia in the season finale last year.
Yeah, and because he is not going to see a whole lot today that he hasn't already seen. He's in his 6th season. Don't expect him to be tripped up much by Temple's defense.
They give it to Garwo. Garwo over that right side. He came into this game ranked 4th in FBS, averaging 10.7 yards per rush.
And one of the best offensive lines in the country is this BC offensive line. Zion Johnson, the left guard, and Alec Lindstrom, the center, are preseason All-Americans. Zion Johnson turned down last year in the COVID year a invitation to the Senior Bowl. So this is a massive group. They get it done in a big way, and what a great opportunity for Dennis Grosel to play behind that group.
And Mel Kiper had Johnson rated as his 5th best guard. Grosel going deep, looking for Jay Williams, and intercepted. What a pick by Keyshawn Paul. Lost Josh DeBerry with the stop. So back-to-back plays, back-to-back losses for Temple, and they're looking at 3rd and 12.
Because that's the jeopardy for Temple today. If they can't run it successfully on 1st and 2nd down, they're going to end up in this a lot, and they're going to see exotic stuff on the back end against a true freshman pulling the trigger.
Lynch from the gun. Pressured, throws it away. Jida Sila applied to pressure, and Lynch just had to get rid of it.
If you remember during the week when we asked the defensive coordinator, Tim Lukabu, whether they're going to get after the youngster or they're going to play coverage, and the answer so far is they're going to play coverage. Rush 3, drop 8, force Justin Lynch to find an open receiver on time through all of the clutter on the back end. And so far on 2 third down plays, he has not been able to do that.
And 2 straight 3-and-outs for the Temple offense. Adam Berry things away. Travis Levy. Levy from his own 10. Across the 20 and brought down at about the 23. 57-yard boot. And that's a 13-yard return. Hey, Saturday Night Football presented by Capital One. We got the annual whiteout game in Happy Valley. 22nd ranked Auburn taking on 10th ranked Penn State. Third ever meeting between the Tigers and Nittany Lions. 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on ABC and the ESPN app. One tap.
Bo Nix, can he go on the road in a hostile place and play well? He hasn't done it yet, and Sean Clifford said
he's got to play great.
Absolutely. He has to not just average, you got to play great on the road to win that game. And Sean Clifford called himself the most confident quarterback in America. The most confident quarterback wins games like that.
Here's Garwo to that right side, probing. Good 4-yard pickup for Garwo, who's coming back home. He rushed for a career high 160 last week against UMass. He was named the ACC running back of the week.
And the more Pat Garwo touched it last week, because the better he got, and I've been around a lot of running backs, and they're like that. The more they can see it, the more they feel it, they get lathered up, and they get into some tight places. And Garwo was really efficient last week.
Roselle from the gun now. Williams. Looks like we got a flag. Get a hold.
Holding. Number 3, offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Off the tight end, Trey Berry.
And that's the scouting report on Trey Berry, a tremendous athlete. 6'6", 244. He's probably a next level guy. You can see number 3. You have to learn the art of holding. Holding is okay, but not when every eye in the stadium is on you at the point of attack. So it's all about when you can get away with it, Trey Berry. But that's what he's learning right now. That's actually why he's at BC, to learn how to be an NFL route runner and also a guy that can block on points of attack just like he did there.
Transfer from Jackson State. 2nd and 15. Grosel steps up, spins, and brought down. Bondi Rigby made the tackle. There's a flag, though.
And this might be a hold the other direction.
Holding. Defense. Number 24. 10-yard penalty. Remains second down.
That's on Keyshawn Paul, the transfer from UConn.
Paul was the one that had the tremendous interception. You can see ISO'd up top, and as the receiver comes in, Paul just grabs him with the right hand. And the reason it was holding versus pass interference is Grosel never threw the football, or that would have been PI if the ball would have been in the air.
So now it's just 2nd and 3 for the Eagles. Garwo's a single setback. Looks like we got a false start.
Prior to the snap, delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
And because we've talked a lot about having 2 backup quarterbacks, but backup quarterbacks aren't treated the same. And Dennis Grosel is in his 6th season, and it's unacceptable to have a delay of game when your number 1 responsibility as a quarterback, especially when you're a huddle team, get in and out of the huddle, get to the line of scrimmage and get the snap. Pre-snap penalties are the worst kind of penalty.
Isn't that what he told us?
Absolutely.
He said, I'm in a rhythm when I got the guys lined up and we're getting the snap off.
That's exactly what he said.
Here's Grosel. Feeling pressure from behind and brought down by Manny Walker. He had an interception for a touchdown last week, gets the sack here today for the Temple Owls.
And that was just kind of speed to power outside, push, 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 right into the quarterback. And that was bad feet by Tyler Grable. The left tackle, just the lowest man won, leverage. It was kind of the forklift, and I'm just going to deposit the 307-pound left tackle at the feet of the quarterback.
You know, his dad's not going to like that. His dad is Mike Grable, head coach of the Tennessee Titans. So now it's 3rd and 16 for BC. From their own 15, Grosel throws, caught. C.J. Lewis with the catch, another flag.
Offside, defense, number 92, penalties decline, result of the play, first down.
That's on Will Rogers. They'll move the sticks, first down for BC.
C.J. Lewis running the dagger or the deep in route. And just watch how Grosel just steps up and rips it. Still very shaky protection on the backside of the quarterback, and then it's just the flat route and up from the inside receiver, and the deep vertical guy, which is C.J. Lewis, runs the dig route and throw on time.
Looking for Berry, fake over the middle, and Joey Lucchetti with the catch. 6-yard pickup. Take a look at the games that are later on the ESPN networks. Florida State and Wake Forest, South Carolina and Georgia tonight at 7. We saw South Carolina last week.
Quarterback, are we going to see that?
Yeah, really.
Doty going to be back. Zeb again? Or?
Right. Garwo, look at the hole. He's across midfield. Finally brought down at the 39 of Temple. A 20-yard pickup for Pat Garwo.
Massive offensive line is going to do this today. You have two guys that were preseason All-Americans, and it's just going to be running behind your strength to this side and the big tight end in Trey Berry. It's outside zone. Garwo takes a really good point of attack, kind of runs the right course. I think we could have ran through that together.
You're right. Listen, I think our Damian Woody and Chris Snead are very proud of that offensive line just opened up. Here's Garwo again. Breaks the tackle. Trucks a man, still running. Let's go down to the field in Lauren.
Kelly, earlier you mentioned Pat Garwo having great vision, and a big part of that is his soccer background, his soccer career. He told me his family, he and his brothers weren't allowed to play football until they were 13 years old. So football, on the other hand, was a center point growing up. Pat's dad from Liberia was all in on soccer. So he said his soccer background has played a significant role in the development as a running back. Not only did it help him condition, but it helped with his footwork and his ability to get in and out of cuts and be a decisive run maker.
Thanks, Lauren. You know, it's interesting that Garwo started 4th on the depth chart. Keep Grosel inside the 20. And out of bounds at the 15. That's a 19-yard pickup by Dennis Grosel.
And BC won't run Dennis Grosel a whole lot. That's not exactly his strength, but they'll run him in times like this just to keep the defense honest. Watch the defensive end step down inside right there, running after Grosel. He doesn't have the form. Running after Garwo, doesn't have the football, and the quarterback steps outside. That defensive end is the key in that one.
Alex Sinkfield has checked into the backfield. Under pressure, Grosel points, throws, complete. Lucchetti again, brought down inside the 10.
Because you could just get a feel for what BC wants to be offensively. Frank Cignetti is their offensive play caller, and he has a ton of NFL experience, and that's actually what Jeff Hafley is selling here. This is somewhat of an NFL grooming program in a Power 5 conference in the ACC. come here and we'll teach you how to play quarterback. We'll teach you how to be an offensive lineman that can play at the next level. And oh, by the way, we've had a few good tight ends roll through here as well.
So, 2nd and 4. Garwo gets the carry. He's about 2 yards shy of a first down.
It's the wide zone that you see across the board in the NFL as BC is in that groove that Grosel told us about and wants to go fast right now.
Grosel, Garwo, and tripped up. Great stop. MJ Griffin comes flying in, trips up the legs of Garwo, and here BC lining up on 4th down. And Grosel keeps it. And this is all about the spot. And they say first down for BC.
Yeah, and I love the high probability 4th and short running behind that offensive line. It's probably what will carry them into the end zone on this drive.
Garwo to carry. Driven backwards. Daishir Clary was the first to meet him.
So the wide zone blocking up front, kind of target the outside hip of the tight end. 12 plays, 75 yards. I mean, that's quintessential BC in the heyday. But then you have the boots and the play action that come off of that zone run. So don't fall asleep on Grosel getting outside in a situation like this.
Drive has gone over 8 minutes. It's a minute 20. C.J. Lewis flanked to the outside. Grosel, Garwo gets the carry. Garwo driven back at the 1 yard line. Amir Tyler met him at the 1 and drove him backwards.
Just watch the movement. There's some offensive line up front in that zone scheme. They take a lateral step and just reach and kind of redirect the defensive line down the field.
The goal line. Previous play is under further review.
They want to take another look at it. They'll get another look. We go to break. There's a touchdown, but there's a flag down.
Offside. Defense, number 92. Penalties decline. Results of the play, touchdown.
2nd touchdown of the season for Garwo, and BC with another touchdown.
Yeah, it's a drive like this that will take the starch out of a Temple defense. This was 13 plays, or was that the 14th play? And just a methodical outside zone, a little play action pass, a little timely keep by Grosel, and behind that massive offensive line. That's a top 5 offensive line in this country.
Connor Litton with the extra point.
Offside. Defense, number 19. Penalties decline. Extra point, good.
Because big boy football, BC wants to get back to that. They want that to be their identity. 14 plays, 11 runs. And those 11 runs look very similar to one another, which was hit you in the mouth and see if you're going to do anything about it.
How about what Coach Hafley has done here at BC? You know, he talked about changing the culture at BC. He said, when I took this program over, it lacked confidence. Players, he didn't get a sense that they especially loved football. And he was talking more on the defensive side.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, this offensive side certainly gotten after it.
Yeah, and I think his identity is starting to show up. It's really kind of a, as that they call it, Fame
Of course, the Eagles are here tomorrow against the Niners. Tavon Ruley had the ball. Looked like he got ripped from him.
Temple wants a very similar game plan to what BC has unleashed. And you see the rip late.
Vinny DePalma rips it out.
But it's a run game that really is the table setter for what both of these teams want to be, as we see a very fast first quarter come to an end because of that.
2 touchdowns put on the board so far for Temple. No first downs, 2 straight 3-and-outs. Take a look at the defensive coordinator for BC, Tim Lukabu. What a story he
What an
is.
amazing story he has.
From the Congo. His father was the ambassador to the United Nations from Zaire. They moved to Queens when he was a young man, and then to Jersey. Defense pitching a shutout here thus far. We got another flag on the field.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 62, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
I love the Tim Lukabu story, and moving from Queens, where he went to New Jersey, and he said he didn't realize that you could play in grassy areas that didn't have rocks and glass. And that's when he discovered football and fell in love with it. And he said this that really got to me. My love for the game isn't based on someone else's vision. My dad didn't play it. My mom thought it was too violent. But my love for this game is organic. That's why I enjoy it so much. That's pretty good stuff.
Lynch takes off on 3rd down. Dives maybe a yard shy of a first down. Let's go down to the field. Lauren, what do you got?
Another layer to the story, guys, is education first. That was all his family was about, education first. So Tim made a deal with his father. He said, look, I will focus on education. If my grades dip, I'm out. So football became his first love, and it came naturally to him. It gave him confidence. It gave him structure. He fell in love with the game. He ended up at Colgate University, where he played linebacker, helped his team win 27 games in a row, y'all. He said his journey here has been a godsend, and he's so grateful for football and the life it has given him.
Really good stuff.
Yeah. There, another punt. 3rd straight 3-and-out. Temple in that offense. It's a nice roll, and down at the 18. 47-yard punt. BC with the rock when we come back. Just a freshman. Family has made the trip here, supporting both guys.
Saw the back of one of those shirts. Grandma's there somewhere, right?
Yes, she was dancing.
She was dancing.
She's in the sunglasses there. You see her right now. She was dancing. Here's BC. 4th offensive possession. We got touchdown, interception, touchdown. Let's go down to Lauren again.
The Garwos are having a time. I love it. Dancing in the stands, getting after it. You talked about grandma. She's got boobs, man. Between Pat and BC and his brother Andrew at Temple, they pulled together 100 tickets for family, friends who wanted to attend the game. You know, they grew up just 20 minutes from here, so the hometown love can be felt right now for these two guys. Now, the one thing I'm curious to know is how they decided who was going to sit where and where they were going to tailgate before the game. Pat said that was kind of up for debate, so I don't know, but they got a cool shirt on, so they're showing the love on both sides. Having a good time.
Having a great time.
That's right.
And you know, forget about which jersey you're going to wear. They got both of them on the shirt. Here's Grossell going downfield, throw, head Zay Flowers. He had it in his hands and dropped it. He had to turn to the other shoulder, but he had it and dropped it.
And not extremely well thrown, but a good job by Zay Flowers, seeing it in the air and making a good play on the football. Ty Mason is the freshman that was on the press coverage corner that time and didn't locate the ball. Very fortunate that Flowers couldn't come up with that one.
That would have been a 40-yard pickup for BC, just the second incompletion. Grossell. 3rd and 14. Check down. And that gets blown up quickly. Levy.
Incomplete pass, 4th down.
As soon as that ball touched his hands, he got hit.
2 high safeties and actually a middle robber there as well. Nowhere to throw the football, but Frank Cignetti said this is what Grossell will do, and maybe a little bit different than what you would get out of Jerkovic potentially. Is Jerkovic can extend the plays as an athlete. You're not going to see that a lot out of Grossell. I think that was well called on the field. You're going to go through the progression, and then Grossell typically is going to go to the check down on time.
Carlson putting things away. Makes the stop for BC. 8-yard pickup for the Owls. And listen, they've had 3 possessions, 9 plays. Before that, just a total of 18 yards and 3 straight 3-and-outs. And they just need to get something going here for the freshman who keeps it. He's got a first down. And we've got a couple of guys tussling.
Well, because that's a start. You have to get a first down and extend the drive and stay out there for a while. But I would like to see Temple get Justin Lynch on the move a little bit. He's a very good move thrower. So cut the field in half, and it's a really good way to get the ball to your playmakers. Randall Jones, 0, and Jaden Blue, number 5, can get it done at a high level. So rotate into those guys outside the pocket.
First down of the day for Temple. Sadie again with the carry. Isaiah Graham Mobley makes the stop. IGM, he's the transfer from Temple.
IGM was a big get for BC. They don't go after the transfer portal a ton. They would like to create the foundation through their recruiting, but losing McDuffie and Richardson at that linebacker level left a huge void. So IGM comes in and played really well so far.
Tavon Ruley comes back. And here's a flag.
Cam Horsley, I think, it was Horsley or Ram that lost his helmet and continued to play.
Personal foul, number 99 defense. Continued to participate in the play after his helmet came off. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
TJ Ram lost his bucket. You have to stop playing when you lose that.
You're right.
Unless it's a penalty, he will also have to come out. He's the nose guard right there, and just lost it early. I don't think there were high hands to the face or anything like that. And then essentially, against everything that you know as a player, 99 TJ Ram just simply has to stop and not participate in the extension of that play.
Ruley again, the ball carrier. Temple now with 3 first downs on the day, and they've gone with 5 straight running plays.
And that is their identity. Their head coach, Rod Carey, is an old center, and I love those guys. They're gnarly. They're half the time in a game they're bleeding somewhere, and their hands are all nicked up, and their jerseys torn. They're sweating all over everything. And then as a quarterback, you have to stick your hands in sensitive places when you're taking the snap from under center. Those guys love their quarterbacks, but they also love to run the football, and that's this Temple offensive identity.
Lynch. He's going to keep it again. Donovan Izaraku makes the stop. The freshman out of Jersey.
And this is where the defensive coordinator Lukabu will get a little bit exotic. Sometimes they will rush 3, they will show pressure, drop 8. Other times they will just show late pressure, change the picture to the youngster, and get after it.
Again, Blue. IGM makes the stop. Boston College, and again, Temple has not thrown it all on this drive.
You got to go for it right here, don't you?
You have to lead the game for 1 play.
You're in kind of no man's land. A punt is irrelevant. It's an incredibly long field goal. Your field goal kicker is young to begin with, so absolutely. 4th and 3, let it rip and see what happens.
Sadie in the backfield, so from the pistol. Looks like BC's going to call timeout. Keeper. Drilled by IGM. The former Temple Owl thinks he's made a big play to save the 4th down, but we'll see.
This is going to be close, and absolutely Grant Mobley got the best of that hit. Justin Lynch is a physical guy, but there was no forward progress once IGM hit the youngster. From his middle slot, you spread it out, quarterback draw right down Main Street, except for number 19.
Since this is Philly, you mean Broad Street.
Broad Street, that's right. I got to get it right. The cross streets are named after trees. I know that much.
And was it a stop? It was. Look at Coach Hafley. He's out on the field. He loves it.
There's a little bit of energy in this coaching staff for Boston College.
Coach Lugaboo is cool as a cucumber.
How does that feel? Number 19, Isaiah Graham Mobley. Boom! You peel paint off the helmet. Lugaboo has been there before.
Yes.
That's a linebacker. I guarantee you that Tim Lugaboo felt that in his sternum.
Yeah,
and then
Coach
Rod Carey, the former center, who tried to block guys like Lugaboo, and that was a great diagnosis of the quarterback draw and a strike when IGM arrived.
So first down for BC. Rossell, another keeper for him, and it's another first down. Pickup of 11.
What did they call Graham Mobley? The juice leader,
Yes,
I think, was the adjective that described him, and you can hear it. Transferred from Temple and was an important piece to the puzzle for Jeff Hafley in the middle of that defense. He's been the weak side linebacker, but now he's the quarterback of that unit. There's a ton of responsibility on number 19, pre-snap.
Garwo. And he's drilled at the line. Oh, we got some hitting now. This is Amir Tyler, who came in, and that's a loss of 1.
You want to see a safety come downhill. This is what a safety's supposed to do. Track the running back from the inside out, and when you arrive, feel free to deliver a strike. And Amir Tyler does just that, right off the edge. Sometimes running backs don't see those guys. They're a half a hole behind, coming from the inside out, and they hit you right in the chin strap.
He's the captain of the defense for the Owls. Play action. Plenty of time. Too high. And almost, he's looking at Trey Berry. Kobe White almost came up with the catch, though.
Kobe White was running the corner route, and Berry was the underneath receiver. The 6'6" tight end gets his hand on it. I don't think that was to Berry. I think it was to White, the second receiver. And there was a little bit of indecision on Dennis Grossel's part.
3rd and 11.
Here's the big tight end right here.
Flowers in motion, steps up as Grossell. And brought down and sacked. Flag on the play. Kobe Wilson with the sack.
Offside. Defense. Number 12. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
That's on Manny Walker.
And this is what you're going to see. You see the jump early from Manny Walker up at the top, but Grossell is not going to put the ball in harm's way. And that isn't his strong suit, extending plays. Jurkovec is more inclined to make something happen outside the pocket. That isn't Dennis Grossell's game.
It was 3rd and 12, now 3rd and 6. Grossell, plenty of room, takes off. He's got a first down, a whole lot more. He slides down at the 40. 11-yard pickup.
You know, because once again, the decision making by Dennis Grossell, he doesn't do a lot to extend plays, but he also doesn't put the ball in harm's way. There wasn't much of a pass rush, and it's all of that space at the top of the numbers and then get down when you get enough. That's great decision making out of a 6th-year quarterback.
He's run twice on this drive. Both of those runs have been for first down. Garwo. Leighton Jordan was the first one to wrap him up.
Temple is doing a better job of getting off blocks at that first and second level defensively, creating some leakage in that BC run game. There you see Jurkovec with that right hand, wrist surgery, probably out for the year. There's an NFL guy standing right there. Next level guy, no doubt about it. Prototypical size, 6'5", almost 230 pounds, and can rip it.
Grosel rolling, under pressure, throws. And that's complete to Luchetti. Let's see, out of bounds?
Yeah, this is going to be a left foot, right foot thing. I thought the left foot might have actually gotten down before the right foot was down out of bounds. This should be a fairly good look at it.
Yeah.
Actually, it was the right.
That heel.
Yeah, the left foot. The heel on the left foot went down out of bounds to begin with.
There you go, yeah.
The thing is, though, is you can have toe down and then heel down as long as you're backing out of bounds.
Running on the field with the player was out of bounds when he caught the ball. Previous play is under further review.
So, because when you're catching the ball on the sideline and the receiver is backing out of bounds, if your toe is down first and then heel, that could be called with possession in bounds. It'll be interesting to see if the replay booth gives it to the big tight end. It's toe down first and then heel down second.
Mm-hmm.
This could be overturned. When you're going out of bounds chest first or going forward out of bounds, they don't give you that toe touch.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Incomplete pass.
That to me was close.
Well, Temple certainly highlights our upcoming AAC schedule here on ESPN Plus. Tonight, the Owls take on Princeton, last women's volleyball match of the City Classic at 6:30 Eastern. The men's soccer team, they square off against number 18 SMU at 7. And then next Saturday, these Owls, they host Wagner at noon. And if you're an AAC fan, you got to have it. Sign up at plus.espn.com/AAC. 3rd and 11. Grosel, plenty of time. And that's incomplete. To the outside, he's looking at Jaden Williams. Cameron Ruiz with the coverage.
Yeah, and well covered. Initially, Grosel was trying to get Trey Berry, the tight end, down the left seam. It was single high safety, man-to-man across the board, and Grosel did a great job of getting through his progression from left to right through the comeback on time, but it was still well covered. They're out there.
Trent Carlson will come in to punt things away for BC. Jaden Blue standing at his own 8-yard line. This is second straight. The Temple defense is forced to punt BC. Fair catch called for. 14-0 our score. We got 4 minutes 40. Well, Saturday Night Football, it is presented by Capital One. You got the annual Whiteout game in Happy Valley. Auburn, Penn State, third ever meeting between the Tigers and Nittany Lions at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific time on ABC. And also you can catch it on the ESPN app, one app and one tap. The Auburn's first road game against a Big Ten squad since 1931. Take a look here. Tank Bigsby and Noah Kane will go at it.
Tank is rough, by the way.
Penn State about, what, 3 hours northwest
so.
of here. 200 miles.
Stadium, Whiteout. Sounds like good stuff.
Travis Levy with the carry, pickup of 3.
Speaking of running backs, BC has a gaggle of them behind one of the best offensive lines in the country going forward. I mean, there are a lot of pieces here that you have to like. Good wide receivers. Zay Flowers might be the best returning wide receiver in the ACC. And just a run game identity, it's all about Dennis Grosel, his ability from this point forward.
Swing it out to Flowers. He's got it now. And a block. Flowers down the sideline. Zay Flowers knocked out of bounds at the 5-yard line. Amir Tyler saved a touchdown. 50-yard pickup.
The way to look at this play is really an extension of the run game. This is another way that teams can get to the perimeter, and BC's going to do that with Zay Flowers. I just got done saying that he might be the best, most explosive receiver returning in the ACC. Very good blocking outside. Those swing screens behind the line to a wide receiver always means really good blocking by the other fellow wide receivers when it's a big play.
Here's Levy. Brought down at the 2. 4-yard pickup.
So because going forward, BC is a Temple defender remains down. BC is really trying to groom their identity with Missouri and Clemson right down the road in the next couple of weeks.
Looks like Will Rogers, senior out of Saginaw, Michigan. He's considered the leader of that defensive line. Well, you mentioned it, Kel. Let's take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Eagles.
Please put 1 minute and 33 seconds.
Big one against Missouri next week. Clemson.
And this is Jeff Hafley's objective, is to try to settle in next to Clemson. There's a big void between Clemson and everyone else in their conference. And people have kind of touched Clemson at times, but can't remain there. So the first step is to close that gap, recruit well, quarterback, offensive line, and tight ends, and groom your identity. And right now, this offensive line for BC can go into Death Valley and compete with the defensive front that they'll see out of Clemson. I really believe they can do that.
You take a look at some of the losses they took against ranked teams last year.
Yeah, they had some close ones. The cream of the crop, obviously, in the ACC being Clemson, but that close one to North Carolina, a game that BC thinks they should have won. But all bowl teams, 66% run today. So a defensive-minded guy, which Hafley is, a lot of times when they ascend to the head coaching rank, they want a run game identity. They want to shorten the game. They don't want to put the defense in harm's way a ton. And that's what BC is doing here. Very NFL-esque with a former NFL play caller in Frank Signetti. Spent a lot of time grooming quarterbacks at the next level.
Well, the good news for Temple, you see Will Rogers is up on his own and walking. We take a look at number of games on the family of networks. You talked about Clemson. They've got Georgia Tech. Florida State, man, they got to try to swallow that loss
boy.
they took, that brutal loss.
Brutal is right.
And against Wake Forest.
Who do you have in that Happy Valley game with Auburn Penn State?
Yeah,
Who you got?
I know. Listen, I know the SEC has kind of dominated when they have faced Big Ten squads, but I want to say that I'm going to lean on the Nittany Lions here.
Ooh, the Big Ten can't afford really, in terms of reputation,
Right.
lose that game
Yep.
out of conference.
Absolutely.
That is not a good look.
And I tell you, that whiteout is one of the best scenes in college football.
I know your Buckeyes aren't going up there, but that'll still be an interesting game.
Oh, absolutely. Second and goal. Levy, the lone setback. He's got it right up the middle. Touchdown, BC.
Wow. That was nothing more than a speed bump. Just watch the blocking this direction. and then the opening is going to come to the right of the running back. As that wave of bodies up front goes by, it's that back door, and I don't know that the running back actually had to do anything other than run right down Broad Street.
Connor Litton, another extra point. And BC up 21-0 with less than a minute left here. Now Temple will receive the football at the start of the second half.
Because we talked about how Jeff Hafley is trying to build this program. He said he got here and there was this void in confidence, and something was missing, and it took a while for him to put his finger on it. But he said there wasn't enough enjoyment for the game, and you talked about it earlier, especially on the defensive side. We have to love one another better in order to love this game more. And he believes he's starting to see some of that show up. There was momentum in 19, and it was slowed greatly in the COVID 2020, and he feels they're getting it back again in 2021.
He's certainly getting it through his rushing game. Offensively, they've put up 125 yards rushing and 2 TDs. Here's Devon Fox. He's brought down at the 25. Of course, Extra Yard for Teachers Week is an annual effort led by the College Football Playoff Foundation that brings college sports together to support and honor great teachers across the country at games. And on social media, you can learn more about Extra Yard for Teachers. Just follow at CFP Extra Yard. First and 10 for Temple. Jaden Blue, motion, give it to Sadie. Sadie falls forward for maybe one.
Chris Banks, the other Temple transfer, a defensive tackle, shed the blocker and really blew that play up before it could get going.
The Owls don't have to run a play, and I think they're going to go into the locker room and say, guys, let's regroup. Let's talk about it. Get the football to begin the second half and try to turn things around here in the second half. So the Temple Owls just 52 yards rushing, 7 yards through the air. They're down 21% of the receiving yards for Temple so far this season. Came into this game third in the FBS, averaging 18.3 yards a catch.
And I'm completely with you because it's Randall Jones as well as Jaden Blue. Those guys have to get after it here in this second half.
A lot of movement. Sadie who gets the carry. That's up the middle. Let's go down to the sideline and Lauren Sisler.
Hey guys, talking to Coach Carey, before the half, he walked over to Justin Lynch on the bench and he said, you need to take a deep breath before the snap. He recognizes this is a big-time environment. It's his second start of college football. This is a big job for him, and he's not responding as well as he'd like to see him respond here. But he said, you got to come out, and the big key word here in the second half is execute. He's got to execute better on offense.
That's a good word.
From the pistol, Lynch will keep it. Looks like he lost a yard.
And Lynch is not seeing things clearly down the field. An offensive lineman lost his helmet once again, and I really would like to see Temple get outside the pocket with Justin Lynch a little bit more. It clears things up as a young quarterback. It looks so busy in the middle of the field at times, and BC is choosing to rush 3 or 4 and drop 7 or 8 every time and force this youngster to work through the clutter.
Lynch flushed, tripped. Chris Banks, he's another Temple transfer. out of Patterson, New Jersey. Tripped him up.
Justin Lynch is fortunate that this ball is going to be, I believe, he's going to be called down, because if not...
Number 13, offense. The penalty is lost it down at the spot of the foul. 4th down.
And that's what I was going to say, because that was intentional grounding. He was outside the pocket, but the ball does not cross the line of scrimmage. And so both of those things have to happen. Outside the pocket, and you have to throw the ball away past the line of scrimmage, or there has to be an eligible receiver in the area. None of those things were true. So it's not only a penalty, but it's the worst kind, which is a loss of down.
Yeah, loss of 10 on that. So Adam Berry come in to punt things away. Travis Levy standing at his own 25. Setback. He's got the football left side. Drives his legs. He's close to a 6-yard pickup. Down to the field. Lauren.
Hey guys, I talked to Coach Hafley going into the locker room. He said Grosel doing a good job. He looks comfortable. He likes the way he's managing the game. Second half, they're going to run the football, try to wear Temple out. And they've got guys open downfield, so expect some explosive plays. And you know what I say to that? Let it rip. Let's go.
Kelly
Let's
said the
go.
same thing.
23 rushes, 130 yards, 31 yards. You take 47 out of that on that Zay Flowers run, and 3 yards, 3.5 yards in a cloud of dust.
Garwell got the carry there, and that play's blown up.
Because the difference is BC can get away with the 3.7 yards in a cloud of dust because they're efficient at doing that time and time again. They rarely have tackles for loss, and they rarely have been behind the sticks.
3rd down and 8 here for BC. Let's see if C.J. Lewis and Zay Flowers is targeted. They're at the top of your screen. Grosel looking. Flush, throws. That was intended for Trey Berry, the tight end. Jordan McGee there to break things up.
I think Grosel was caught off guard that time. It was a changeup in coverage. 2 high safeties, man-to-man everywhere else. You see the 2 high safeties right there, and then it's going to be man-to-man across the board. Zone coverage as the second-level defenders see the routes break, but just nowhere to go with that football until late. Good job in coverage by Temple right there.
Carlson with the punt. Jaden Blue backs him up. Zone 10. Blue brought down at the 20. Punt is about 60 yards. It's a 10-yard return. We take a look at the games here on the Family of Networks. Arizona State, BYU. Of course, we've talked about Auburn and Penn State. South Carolina, Georgia, 7 Eastern, and Florida State, Wake Forest, and Clemson, and Georgia Tech. Tavon Aruli is your setback. Lynch will start from the pistol. To the outside, Randall Jones. 6-yard pickup.
The balls that Justin Lynch has thrown in this second half have looked better. Throwing starts from the ground up, and Lynch was not of great feet in that first half on a couple of open throws, but set your feet, as Lauren likes to say, let it rip. And I think Lynch will be well off, just like he was on that play to Jones.
Here's Jones, the jet sweep. Gets to the outside, gets a first down.
The game is not that complicated, the game of football. The people playing it and the coaches coaching it can be complicated, but it's about who are our playmakers and how can we get them the football. Randall Jones, number 0, and Jaden Blue, number 5, are chief among the playmakers that have to see the football more in this second half.
What their OC say? You got to get the football to Jones and Blue, because when we do, it's like the Jones Blue hour. We haven't seen that yet. Ruley gets the carry right side.
The Jones Blue hour, and that opens up creases in the run game. And you don't have to run it in order to throw it, and you don't have to throw it in order to run it. It can work both directions. But Justin Lynch has to be efficient enough in hitting open receivers to loosen up that run defense from Boston College.
All trickeration here. He's got a man, and open is Darius Pittman. Temple Owls going deep into the playbook.
There you go. You have to change it up a little bit, and the tight end is going to actually hand that ball off and leak outside and get up the field. He was an in man on the line of scrimmage to the right, and after the handoff, found the big tight end.
Yeah, it's a 29-yard pickup, longest play of the day.
So go with the little tempo and change it up a little bit. The stuff out of the box, the double reverse throw to the tight end, things of that nature is what it's going to take, because Temple isn't good enough up front to methodically drive it and get points like BC is up front to do that.
Here's a good thing. Justin Lynch so far here in the second half, 4-4, 52 yards. Keep in mind, coming into the second half, they had a total of 59 yards of offense. Another jet sweep to Randall Jones. Josh DeBerry makes the stop.
Even something like that, because seems pretty uneventful, but two things happen. One, you got the ball to your playmaker in a guaranteed touch to Randall Jones. Just simply toss him the football, and then you get into third advantageable. Both of those things are what Temple needs to do at a higher level in the second half if they have a chance to get back in this.
It's just the second time in this game that Temple has crossed midfield. 3rd and 4. They haven't converted one yet. Give it to Lynch. He's close. I think the spot they're going to give it to him, first down for Temple.
And that's just old school. That's Jordan Lynch football right there. It's power run by the quarterback. There isn't anything to read. You're going to see an offensive lineman come from right to left, and Adam Klein, and lead the quarterback on a power play. Jordan Lynch ran that dozens of times.
8th play of this drive.
Northern Illinois.
Lynch. He'll keep it. Good open field tackle by Josh DeBerry. Back down to the field. Lauren.
Hey, Kelly, you bring up a great point. You and I talked about it yesterday. When Jordan played football, he was also engaged in other sports, so football wasn't full-time for him. But nowadays, with the amount of time these quarterbacks spend with a private coach, it's 12 months out of the year, and Justin has devoted himself to just being a quarterback. So the biggest difference Jordan sees in his brother is his ability to stay in the pocket, make his reads. If it was Jordan, he would just break down, run the football, kind of like you saw there.
And Temple looking at 2nd and 7. Lynch. Flush, throws, and that's complete. Jordan Smith.
You can see how Justin Lynch is able to get his shoulders squared up and throw a strike. It's a good tackle in open field. 84 Jordan Smith is listed in the wide receiver category, but actually he's much more of a tight end in the way that Temple uses him. But I like Lynch outside the pocket.
Another 3rd down here for Temple. They converted their last 3rd down opportunity.
And your playmakers are up there because
Lynch, and he looks that way. Keeps it. Looks like he's about a yard short. Bryce Steele makes the stop for BC.
and it was the run pass option, and Lynch chose to pull it and tried to throw it outside. It was sliced zone inside, and they wanted to get Jaden Blue the ball or Randall Jones on the slant, and it looked like Jones was more of the blocker, Jaden Blue more of the pass catcher outside on that flat.
First time in the red zone. 4th and 1.
False start, number 28, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Yeah, that's one that'll kill you.
Woo-wee.
That'll kill you there. That drives coaches nuts.
The running back, Ruley's just going to flinch a little bit. And Rod Carey told us that I think they had 12 penalties for close to 100 yards a week ago. Or in the loss, in the first week to Rutgers. They cleaned it up a bit last week against Akron. Most egregious kind are the ones before the ball is snapped.
3rd Temple false start. So now 4th and 6. Lynch to Jones, and he's shy. BC defense makes the stop. Bryce Steele.
A change-up. Try a helmet on.
I know another. Here's Garwo. Straight up the middle. 6-yard pickup. Quavion Mahone makes the stop.
How about our conversation this week with Frank Cignetti, the offensive play caller for BC? Kind of a John Gruden kind of throwback type guy, right?
Everything is, man, let me tell you something, man, I love this football, man. I love, man, this guy can rip it, man.
You got to get the face down.
Yeah, really. That's to the outside of Jayden Williams. Ty Mason not having it. 3-yard loss.
Great reaction by Mason and a great tackle in the open field.
3rd and 7. Coming from BC.
Yeah, BC hasn't been in this down and distance much. This is where Dennis Grosel has to be a really good decision maker and not give this Temple squad anything that they don't deserve.
We have 7 on 3rd down. BC flag. In and out of the hands of Jelani Galloway.
Illegal formation, offense, number 64, lined up in the backfield. Penalties decline, 4th down.
So lined up in the backfield, Petrula, the right tackle, just simply means the offensive linemen have to be on the line of scrimmage. You're given basically, you can see the helmet right there, you're given basically kind of the waist of the offensive lineman next to you, and that was just simply too deep. Those 5 guys have to be on the line along with 2 other guys. So 7 have to be on the line of scrimmage in order to be a legal formation.
Jaden Blue standing at his own 25. Across the 30. 1st and 10 from the 30 of BC.
Timeout.
Temple's going to call a timeout.
It's their first timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
You can see Justin is so far 8 of 8 here in this second half.
Certainly getting more comfortable in this second half. 8 straight to begin this half, and it's just a matter of where you're going to get your splash plays. I believe this stat is still holding up. Last season in college football, 80% of the scoring drives had at least one explosive splash play within the drive. It means like a 12-yard reception, a 15-yard run, something along those lines. It's hard to drive the football to get points. And you can see that today out of Temple.
From the 30. Lynch to the outside. That's complete to Blue as well. Down to the sideline again in Lauren.
Okay, guys, so I've been texting with Jordan because he was unable to make the game. He had a game last night late, so he wasn't able to get the early flight. But he said, do me a favor and tell Kerry to move the pocket, would you?
Amen,
tempo.
brother.
Throw it on first down. Come on, you got to push the tempo, make easy throws, and you need some verticals. And then after that last one, he goes, hey, he listened to me. They moved the pocket.
I've been preaching that since the get-go.
Justin certainly looks a lot more confident here in the second half. Here's Sadie. Of course, Temple highlights our upcoming AAC schedule on ESPN Plus. Tonight, you got the Owls taking on Princeton, and last women's volleyball match of the City Classic at 6:30 Eastern. Men's soccer squares off against SMU at 7, and then next Saturday, these Owls host Wagner at noon. If you're an AAC fan, you got to have it. Sign up today. Plus.espn.com/AAC.
Not sure what that look is.
A lot of movement. 3rd and 3. Blue in motion. They give it though to Sadie. Did he fumble the football? It's a first down for Temple.
Adam Klein might have been the offensive lineman that was paying attention.
Yeah, he did.
Not very good ball security.
Brandon Barlow.
Barlow just punches it out.
Yeah.
4th and 1. This seems to be Lynch territory to me.
They give it to Kyle Dobbins, who had just checked in. And I think Kyle Dobbins fell forward for a first down.
And it took all of that falling forward, and Kyle Dobbins is more the physical downhill guy, very much like Tavon Ruley as well. And then you have really the volume carrier is Sadie, the best all-around guy, and Sadie's probably the best guy on 3rd down also. Really good pass protector.
Jaden Blue at the bottom of your screen. And he's looking at Blue now and overshot him. Elijah Jones was with him and nearly came up with a pick. And we got a flag down. It's almost like a stop and go type route.
It was an out and up by Jaden Blue, and it was soft coverage, and that ball should have never have been thrown, or if it was, out of the back of the end zone.
Ineligible receiver downfield. Number 57, offense, 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
The out and up from here, you're going to see this, and then up, but it's soft coverage, and you have to know that as a quarterback. Right there, that play is dead. It's covered underneath and then eventually over the top, and so you have to go elsewhere or you have to airmail that, and all of that times about 10 as you're closing in the red zone.
Here's Lynch again in the air to the outside, complete. Ahmad Anderson makes the catch. 11 seconds left in the quarter.
Ball placement leads to yards after catch, and that ball was out on time, and it hit Anderson right between.
That team breakaway at one time. Lynch keeps the football.
Well, because that 3rd quarter was dominated by Temple, but Temple still has this on the scoreboard.
Right.
All of that domination statistically in quarter 3 means nothing if you don't get this one into the end zone.
And coming into this game, Temple led the country in red zone offense. That scored every time they had been in the red zone. That's not the case today. And just laundry all over the field.
Number 81, offense.
That's got to drive Coach Carey just nuts.
Goodness. And Coach Carey told us that. And you have to bleep every other word when he gets talking about pre-snap penalties.
Yep.
But if he's going to have to deal with false starts out of the tight end Darius Pittman, he's drawing pictures down there to the official. I don't exactly know what the head coach Rod Carey would be saying, but pre-snap penalties are the worst kind.
4th false start penalty on Temple here today?
Because we can all line up, know our assignment, and go on the snap count, right?
Yeah.
Theoretically.
Lynch keeps it and just smashed. Brandon Barlow was the first to hit him, but
that didn't have a good look to it. It was going to be a screen outside. You can see the lineman releasing, and the receiver, Davon Cox, was coming back inside and pick up that wave of offensive linemen blocking inside out, but the defender was right on the heels of Fox.
Jaden Blue in the slot up top. Lynch looking. Flush, throws, and throws it away. So, do you go for the field goal? Do you just put some kind of points?
I was going to ask you that. You know, do you take the lid off the basket here?
Yeah.
I think Rod Carey's going to elect to do that as we now see the field goal kicker coming out. But you talk about horrific execution deep in the red zone. That's what it looks like.
So here's Rory Bell, the freshman. 1 for 2 last week. This is from 32 yards out. And Temple finally on the board. So points.
Different play call on third down, and the play on third down, the tunnel screen was poorly executed.
This is Xavier Coleman, the new running back. BC fights forward for a couple of yards.
You know, because down in the red zone in particular, the sense of urgency and focus, attention to detail has to go up greatly, or you don't score points consistently. And Tom Brady said that, you know, this game is about scoring points. And when you're going backwards, you're not scoring points, because scoring points are done by getting yards going forward. It's very simple, but yet it's very difficult to do consistently for a young team that's trying to get their feet under them.
Rossell looks like he makes a check at the line. To Coleman. Manny Walker makes a stop for Temple. Take a look at the number of games on the family of networks.
This team down here has been really hot. BYU is maybe one of the most physical squads in all the country. And remember, they're not a group of 5 school. They're an independent. So the group of 5 hopes really right on Cincinnati and their outcome against Indiana today and Notre Dame in the future.
Here's Grossell. Steps up, takes off, and brought down. Kobe Wilson makes the stop.
And ultimately, a good decision by Grossell. And this is where Jurkovec and Grossell are different. Jurkovec can make something happen out of that and keep the throw alive. Big arm, a good athlete. Dennis Grossell is all about making good decisions and not putting the ball in harm's way.
Jaden Blue away for this punt. So far, BC in this second half, 3 straight 3 and outs. That's a great special teams play by Elijah Jones. He's done that a couple of times here today. 51-yard punt. Steps up, brought down. Right at the line of scrimmage. Clemens, first to wrap him up.
For Temple, they're going hurry up now, but how are you going to finish is the question.
And we got another flag.
We got another pre-snap penalty.
And that's
Prior
the
to the
5th.
snap, false start.
Yep.
Number 12, offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
And for Rod Carey, it's equal opportunity false starts. They're all over the place.
Yeah.
Receivers, offensive line. Here coming from all which ways, but 12 penalties in the first week, and as Rod Carey said, we spotted Rutgers 26 points. They got beat 61-14. Clean up the little things in the second week, but here it's ugly once again.
Here's Lynch under pressure, and he's sacked. Donovan Ezeraku.
Well, you just don't have time. There's a 5-man rush, and then the 6th defender is actually closing late. Plastered on the back end. Lukabu's defense is getting the two things together. Rush on the front end, coverage on the back end.
Here's 3rd and 20. That's underneath to Reams. And Temple will punt it away.
This game is just really difficult if you're not doing the first things right. And literally you teach people to play this game by where do you stand in the huddle if you're huddling, and then it's alignment, assignment, and snap count. Right now, Temple doesn't remember the snap count at times.
Levy from his own 40. 6th punt of the day for Temple Owls. Being at 1 at and 1 tap. BC football, 1st and 10 from their own 42. This is Garwo. Hey, take a look. USC taking on Washington State today, and they're playing pulled up in Pullman. Look at this.
Oh my goodness.
How about that? It's coaches and some with those guys were still on, and
we know one coach that wasn't on there. Clay Hilton.
Yeah, I don't think it.
Wow, that's not a good look right there.
No, not at all. Luckily, nobody hurt, nobody injured, nothing. Alex Sinkfield, the lone setback. He gets the carry. Sinkfield busts it to the outside. It's a 1st down, plenty more, crosses midfield, and finally brought down by M.J. Griffith, but not before an 18-yard pickup.
Because there's a metaphor in here somewhere. That plane that, as we see Boston College hurrying up, that plane, there's a metaphor for the condition of that program currently. I don't know exactly what it means, but there's a lesson in there somewhere.
You're right. That was the first down of this half for BC.
Yeah, BC has gone a long time with not getting a whole lot done, and Ed Svita, our esteemed statistician, often misunderstood, but does his job nonetheless. Wanted me to quote him: no first downs until that one. None, nada, zilch. I think we get the point.
One of Philadelphia's finest.
I think he might stay in the booth. I think he has the Eagles game
I
tomorrow.
think right.
I'll have to kick him out of here.
He'll sleep here.
Yards timeout. 30-second timeout.
Well, here's our next UFC Fight Night, and it comes your way tonight from the Apex in Las Vegas. 6th ranked Michael Smith, 11th ranked Ryan Spann, and it's a middleweight main event. And it all starts, just download the ESPN app. 2nd and 8. This is from the Temple 33. Sinkfield again. And again over that right side. Another first down and another flag. Keyshawn Paul, who had that interception in the first quarter.
You can hear the fans in the background are not exactly happy with Temple's play today. A skosh undisciplined, I think, is what that guy was trying to say, if you could hear him in our headset.
Yeah. Really. BC in the red zone. Oh, they're 3 for 3. And they've gone right side.
Offside. Defense, number 90. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
How many penalties are we up to on Temple at this point in time?
4th offsides for them.
False starts, offsides.
5 of 5 false starts.
See, the offside is the evil twin to the false start. Is you're simply going on the ball. You're watching the ball. You're going on the ball. You know the snap count.
Yep. Sinkfield got the carry again.
And Rod Carey told us that he has obviously some building to do. This is his 3rd year. And he said some trust has to be built back up again. Remember kind of the scenario. Al Golden to Steve Adazio, Matt Rule, then Jeff Collins, and then that weird little time where Manny Diaz took the job,
Yeah.
and then jumped ship and took the job in Miami,
Yep.
and then Rod Carey.
Sinkfield. Brought down at the 2. 5 minutes left.
I mean, in the meantime, you're really kind of seeing Boston College's identity get more solidified for what lies ahead. After this, it's Missouri on the 25th, then they go to Death Valley and play Clemson on October 2nd with a backup quarterback that's been on campus longer than that man right there.
You're right. They can get a first down at the 1-yard line. It's Sinkfield, and he's close. He says he's a little short.
Yeah, and I don't think the replay
Please reset the game clock.
is going to be able.
30 seconds, please.
So it's 4th and goal. Or really 4th and a yard. From the 2. Quarterback keep. No signal yet. Touchdown, BC.
Going on the field, touchdown.
Dennis Grossell gets the touchdown on the quarterback keep, and Alex Sinkfield gets the assist on the Bush push, which was made legal a couple of years ago. Didn't get much of a push. He actually got cleaned off of that pile before he could get really talented offensive line is going to pay dividends in a lot of the second halves that Boston College plays this year.
Litton here for the extra point. And the Eagles, three rushing touchdowns, all by 3 different players.
Yeah, so this was the first football game for Jaden. He looked at the field and he said, beginning, you saw that, right? A little slack, and then he turned on the Jets. He gone.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he was being a gentleman early.
Yeah.
And he just said, see ya.
So in other words, you said it was a gimme, right? A gimme. Okay,
Those
whatever.
knees that have been through too many floor exercises.
Yeah, he wasn't even
Gymnastics
he was
days.
not even breathing heavy after all was said and done. He was like, I got this. No
You
big
should
deal.
have given someone else your mic set up. So I think that slowed you down by a good maybe step and a half. So you could have been in the same frame at least.
Yeah, okay. Okay. I mean, all 3.5 pounds of this mic, I don't know. I'm probably being
Yeah.
a little.
Oh, you might need to check back with us tonight.
Yeah, look, at least you dapped him up.
Yeah.
Right.
Lauren is always happy about something. You can be happy about getting your doors blown off like she was right there.
Hey, I mean, you got to give the kid some credit. Hey, he loves skateboarding too, so he's got some moves on the skateboard. I really thought that maybe I could handle him here on the football field, but no such luck.
That was a bad.
And I was the one over here stretching out, making sure I was really stretched out. And Piker up there in the booth, and the truck was like, "You better make sure you don't hurt yourself, Lauren."
Yeah, I have 2 new hips, and I might take you on now.
Whatever. Next time y'all are getting down here, we'll go foot race.
I guarantee you, B. Cuss is fast.
Yeah, listen.
Brother Darren is a linebacker, and he put him down. What is Lauren waving at right there?
I'm waving at y'all. I was told to look up. Since you guys are giving me such a hard time. Hey, at least I got some dance moves. Oh, yeah. You ain't got those dance moves like me. Sideline shimmy. Let's go.
Let's go up and have you hang out with Pat Garwo's people. They were
Right,
they
exactly.
were getting after it.
Yes, they were getting after it, having a good time. Grandma, she's my favorite.
Grandma had the best.
She had the
yeah.
moves, man. The moves.
3rd and 2.
Grandma Garwo.
What did that have to do with you getting beat bad in that race?
Hey, because some things we're good at in life and some things we're not. You know, I was a former gymnast. And I'm
What
a
was
has-
your go from one corner to the other and do those things that
Yeah,
they do?
it's a quick burst. Right, but remember, Kelly, I graduated from Rutgers.
Yes.
I'm going to throw that out there.
Oh, so you
Graduated
got-
from Rutgers in 2006. So we're talking a long time ago for this.
Who's the best quarterback, baby, in Rutgers history? Do you know that?
I do know it.
Yeah.
Ray Lucas. We're going to
There
give
you
him a
go.
shout out. Ray Lucas. We know that's Brian Custer's buddy there in Jersey. So Ray Lucas, shout out to you. Love you, man. Go RU.
She memorized your.
I need to watch Eli and Peyton's Monday night. You two. This is even better.
Hey, well, apparently Kelly has this rule in life that he can't eat food after 4 o'clock. That's what I'm told. That's his excuse for not wanting to hang out with us anymore. No food after 4 o'clock. I ain't buying it, Kelly. I'm not buying it.
I may hang out with you now after you see you race. I'll take you on in the parking lot, like right after this game.
Hey, it's all that junk food I eat, right? The junk
Yeah.
food. But
We gotta
you know,
talk
Coach
about
Hafley
that.
will bring it back to this game. Coach Hafley told us that he's all about the junk food in his office. That's what he focuses on. He brings the guys in his office. He's got donuts. He's got M&Ms. He's got chocolate milk. So that's a way to buy your players, man. I'll tell you.
All right, sis,
Come to my house.
let's bring it back to the game again.
Okay.
And the Covenant's going to say, we don't want you eating junk food anymore. And we're going to hold you accountable.
Wow. That hurts, man. Junk food's my fuel. That's what gets me hype on game day.
Rod Carey is just beside himself.
Well, it was 4th down. And listen, the back dropped the football, but to add insult to it, there was a flag, and it was on Temple.
I don't know what the line judge has to do with false starts and those type of things. Rod Carey is a fighter, rest assured. And he talked about the comparison with this program when he took over at NIU and what he sees at Temple and that toughness that has to win.
But I'll tell you what, I'm sure Coach Carey is the man for the job, and he culture here at Temple, and he'll get it done.
No reason to doubt him based on his last several years at Northern Illinois. And he said this team reminds him of the team he had the year after Jordan Lynch left. And there was no real identity because Jordan had been that. And he said, I had to remember everything I wanted, I had to ask for. And sometimes I forget to ask now with this young group that he's coaching.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to get back to asking about tomorrow afternoon.
Well, Coach Hafley, he's done a heck of a job. He's off to a 3-0 start. Boston College has now won 7 straight against Temple, thanks to a touchdown catch by Williams, touchdown runs by Garwo, Levy, Grossell. BC was 4 for 4 in the red zone and ran for 179 yards.